You spend hours studying, reading textbooks, taking notes, and highlighting key points. But when the test comes, it feels like your brain hit the reset button. Sound familiar? That's because you've been learning the wrong way. The good news is you're not alone. Even better, there's a fix. Medical students and top performers don't just study harder, they study smarter. In this video, you'll discover two science-backed techniques that can transform how you learn and, more importantly, how much you remember. Let's dive in. Imagine your brain as a leaky bucket. When you passively absorb information, like reading notes or rewatching lectures, you're pouring water into that bucket. But without a way to seal the leaks, most of it drains away. Studies show that within 24 hours, people forget up to 70% of what they've learned passively. This happens because your brain treats unreinforced information as unimportant. It's like scrolling through social media. You see the content, but it doesn't stick. Active recall flips passive learning on its head. Instead of receiving information, you retrieve it. Think of it like a mental workout. Every time you force your brain to recall a fact or concept, you're strengthening the neural pathways that store that memory. After reading a chapter or watching a lecture, close your notes and ask yourself, what did I just learn? Write down everything you remember, even if it's just bullet points. Struggling? That's normal. The effort to recall is what builds stronger memories. Instead of rewriting notes, reformat them as questions. For example, if your note says, mitochondria produce energy for the cell, write, what organelle produces cellular energy? Put these questions on flashcards or a list and quiz yourself daily. Explain the material out loud to a friend, a pet, or even a stuffed animal. Teaching forces you to organize information logically and spot gaps in your understanding. Practice exams aren't just for exam week. They're one of the most effective forms of active recall. Answering questions under timed conditions mimics real exam pressure, preparing your brain to retrieve information quickly. Active recall is powerful, but pairing it with spaced repetition makes it unstoppable. Spaced repetition is a scheduling technique that optimizes when you review information. It's based on the forgetting curve, a discovery by psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus in 1885. On day 0, you learn something new. By the next day, you forget most of it. By day 3, you forget even more. But if you review the material at specific intervals, right before you're about to forget it, you reset the forgetting curve. Each review makes the memory more durable. Over time, the gaps between reviews widen. Review after 1 day, then 3 days, then 7 days, and so on. Start with a flashcard system. Apps like Anki or Quizlet use algorithms to schedule reviews based on how well you know each card. If you answer correctly, the app shows the card less often. If you struggle, it appears more frequently. Create a study calendar. Plan review sessions in advance. After learning a topic, schedule reviews for 24 hours later, 3 days later, 1 week later, and 1 month later. Each study session should include a mix of new content and older topics needing reinforcement. This interleaving strengthens connections between ideas. Medical students, law students, and language learners swear by these methods, and for good reason. One study found that medical students using spaced repetition retained 40% more information than peers who crammed. Another showed that students using active recall scored a full letter grade higher on exams. Let's see how much you've absorbed so far. Grab a blank sheet of paper and answer these questions without looking back. What percentage of passively learned information is forgotten within 24 hours? What are 2 benefits of teaching material to someone else? What happens to the forgetting curve with spaced repetition? If you struggled, don't worry. That's the point. Passive learning creates the illusion of knowledge. Active recall and spaced repetition turn that illusion into reality. Study actively, not passively. Replace rereading with self-testing and teaching. Schedule smartly. Use spaced repetition to review material just before forgetting it. Embrace the struggle. Difficulty retrieving information isn't failure. It's the process of building strong, lasting memories. Overhauling your study habits overnight is overwhelming. Start small. Convert tomorrow's lecture notes into questions. Spend 10 minutes testing yourself after class. Schedule a 5-minute review session 3 days later. Within weeks, you'll notice fewer late-night cram sessions and more confidence during exams. Your brain isn't broken. It's just been trained to learn the wrong way. Passive methods like highlighting or rewatching lectures are comfortable but ineffective. Active recall and spaced repetition require effort, but they're the closest thing to a magic bullet for lasting learning. The next time you sit down to study, ask yourself, Am I filling the leaky bucket or am I sealing it? Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend who's tired of forgetting what they learn. And don't forget to hit subscribe. More science back study tips are on the way. Happy studying!